So today we have to go into the city to get the last things that we need to finish off the porch and the porch roof, like paint and stuff for the stairs and also the roofing stuff, I guess. And then we also have to stop at the Ford dealership because the engine light has been going on, and then each time that we drive to the Ford dealership it actually turns off. So hopefully it'll stay on long enough, which is a strange thought. Hopefully the engine light stays on long enough for us to get it checked out. And the kids now have, well, some of them have their tablets. But Avi actually broke 2 of the chargers, so there's, and Theo's tablet actually stopped charging. So 2 of them don't have tablets right now, and we'll just have to read or play or do something. And then we're also going to go out for dinner for Eli's birthday, which is in 2 days. He turns 1, which is super sad, but we always go to Boston Pizza for birthdays, so that'll be on our list as well. We bought, they sell kids cards at the restaurant once or twice a year where you pay $5 and it goes to charity, and then you get 5 meals. And if you use their app, you can sign your card up on their app and then also get an additional meal. So for $5 you get 6 kids meals, which is a really good deal for us because we have lots of kids that eat the meals when we go there. And like I said, we always go there for birthdays, so that's at least once a month-ish usually. And so we're gonna hit up hardware, well, I guess, is it a hardware store? Yeah, Home Depot basically, and also try and find an outdoor carpet for the 5th wheel. So we have a whole bunch of shopping and things to do, as well as I took out Theo's size 10 stuff since he finally fits into it now, and he actually doesn't have any shirts, so we'll stop and grab some shirts as well. It's definitely fall because when we woke up the heat has been on all night long, and then when we went outside it's actually was 1 degree this morning Celsius, but 1 degree. It's supposed to warm up to over 20, but it started off at 1, so that's normally what happens on the first day of public school. Which, Kelly, are you going to school? No, we're going to the city. Alright, so yesterday was a total gong show. We went into the city originally to pick up stuff to finish off the porch and the roof there. And when we started to drive in there, I noticed that the engine light was on. It's been going off and on. Dustin tried to bring it in last week or 2 weeks ago. And when he brought it into the dealership, because we actually bought it from a dealership, the light was no longer on. So then we had to basically just bring it home. And then, so yesterday it actually did stay on for the duration of the trip from here to the city. So I figured we would have to bring it in then. However, once I left here, I noticed that I had forgotten our, we bring a lunch kit full of cold snacks like yogurt and fruit and stuff like that, and I had forgotten it here. So I figured I already have the other electric plug-in cooler which has stuff for sandwiches, and we have our other snacks in a different bag which don't have to be refrigerated, so I figured I'd be okay. So we ended, and I noticed that about halfway into town, so, or into the city, so about 30 minutes later. And then we get to the car dealership, and it's supposed to be an easy fix, just hook it up to a computer, basically the code reader, because our code reader won't actually read it. It's not high-tech enough, it's not expensive enough, I guess, so it wouldn't read the code. So we brought it in, and it's supposed to be a quick thing, so we drive in, bring the kids into the Larry Lounge, and they have popcorn for the kids with different flavorings to go on top of the popcorn, as well as hot chocolate and coffee, tea, you know, that kind of normal stuff. So we get there and we wait a little bit, and they come back and they're like, yeah, well, it's gonna be a little while, so do you really want to stay or you want to bring it back another time? And I figured that having to try and wait and then bring it back at different time, and when we wouldn't even necessarily know if the code would be there again. So we just decided, okay, well, you know, if it'll take an hour or two, then whatever, we'll sit here and have popcorn, whatever. And then actually I got the guy to also get our stroller out of the back of the van. Now when he took the stroller out of the back of the van, he unplugged the electric cooler, I guess, or this is what we're assuming. And when you turn it around, it turns into a heater. So we assumed that he plugged it back in the opposite direction and actually cooked the peanut butter, the jelly, and the bread, and a couple other things that were already in there. So it turned from being a cooler to a heater. And it actually gets kind of like almost oven temperature in there, so. Alright, so I just had to play battery tradesies with the other camera. But basically what ended up happening was our lunch got cooked. And it didn't really matter anyway, because that hour actually turned into 4 hours. I noticed in my last video they say actually a lot. So that 1 hour actually turned into 4 hours, and we didn't end up bringing our snacks with us at all, and we didn't bring our lunch with us. So when we walked, it's only 5-minute walk basically to Walmart from the car dealership. So we went there and the dollar store and just grabbed some, I just ran upstairs. And we grabbed some of the yogurt tubes that the kids like, and also some baby carrots, as well as juice, the fruit and veggie juice. So overall they didn't really have, you know, really a bad lunch, but I also grabbed just a protein shake for me. And then we grabbed a whole bunch of stuff for Eli's first birthday. He turns 1 tomorrow. We haven't planned his birthday really. I just got some stuff. He's gonna have a rainbow birthday party, and so we'll have to figure out when that is. So basically that whole day kind of turned into a gong show. By the time we ended up leaving the car dealership, Dustin was already off work. So we got there in the morning and it was basically a full day's work. So we went to Home Depot afterwards to try and get the roofing for on top of the patio, which is just really, yeah, you can see the top of it, sort of. I don't know. So you can see that. And it just needs the, I guess it has the corrugated steel roof. And we went to that Home Depot and we were told that only the other Home Depot in the city carries it. So we ended up buying, I think, about $500 worth of paint for the house and for the deck. And we actually got it on sale. It seems like $500 for paint is ridiculous. But then we also will get a rebate of about $80 back from Bear. It's like from Bear, which is the company that we bought of paint. And so that's still ridiculous, but we got paint that is for the steps to make them not slippery in the wintertime, and then paint for basically the whole deck, except for we're not painting the actual floor because that's weird. And then we went to Boston Pizza for Eli's birthday dinner. That's where we take all the kids for their birthday dinners, or that's where they request to go. We ask where they want to go and that's where they go. That's usually where we go to celebrate pretty much anything. Is Boston Pizza, so it makes it kind of easy to go. And since we have kids cards, it makes it super cheap too, because some of the time you will have the management or just the waitress or whoever use up when they're not supposed to. Just basically use the kids card meals for all four of the kids meals. You're only supposed to use one per adult meal purchase. Obviously there's only 2 adults, so we have only 2 adult meals purchased. But a lot of the time they're super nice and they will use up 4 of the kids' meals, and just will end up having to just pay for the adult meals, which makes it really cheap, which is why I love those cards. So it only costs about $30 and then tip and all that kind of stuff. So really cheap for a family of 8 to go out to dinner, and we do it at least once a month because we have birthdays almost in every month in January. And then we have Valentine's Day in February. Then in March is Dustin's birthday. April is Abby's birthday. May is Callie's birthday. June is Father's Day. July we don't usually go unless it's for a date night or a family date night. Neither do we usually do it in August, except for they usually have where you can get $5 individual pizzas in August. So we usually do that. That's kind of a tradition from the time that we came here for the first year, and we found out that they did that here. So we went there. So we usually go, yeah, at least once a month, because then September would be Eli's birthday, October's my birthday, November is both Theo and Bearston's birthday, And then December is usually like Christmas or something like that. So yeah, we go at least once a month, and that's our go-to place to go to. What else? Yeah, then we went to Boston Pizza for dinner, and it was still pretty early. So we went to the thrift store to get Theo some shirts, because when I went and took out all of his size 10 stuff last week, I noticed that he actually didn't have any shirts. So there's the word actually again. So we went and picked up a couple shirts, and I also picked up a couple online for him from Walmart because they're $3 or $4, and honestly the kids beat up their clothes, so I'd rather, and they get stained, so whatever. We buy the clothes from the thrift store, and that makes it just easier and cheaper to replace when they tear holes in them and, you know, roll around in the mud. So then today, well, I went after that. Yeah, then we also went to Superstore and picked up a couple things. I had $70 worth of points, so everything ended up being, I think, $60, which is awesome. That's why we use our credit cards for everything, and we always pay them off each and every month because we don't spend more than we already have. So it just ends up, I think we've gotten probably over $5,000 worth of free groceries and things from them, because we have been using their credit card for over 10 years, and we also used their bank, which is going in the crapper now, so I don't know. And then after Superstore we came home. It was super late, so we just brought everything, put the things that needed to go in the fridge, and then everything else we just, does everybody else do this? When it gets super late, you just abandon anything that doesn't need to be refrigerated on your like kitchen table and put it away the next day. Yeah, because there was no way at 11 o'clock at night, after waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, I was going to be putting away, finding places for the bread. Because that's another thing, is that we still have not tamed our hoarder ways. We brought our hoarding ways from inside this house to out there. And so we had way too much stuff in here, and as I work through the stuff in here and get rid of a lot of it, it's looking a lot nicer. But that means that we did still bring way too much stuff into the trailer, so it's way overpacked, and we're preppers too, so we like to have a lot of stuff on hand, and that's not something you can do if you're living in a tiny space with no storage. So that's one thing that we really need to figure out as well. So that's one thing that we really need to figure out as well, is how to find a balance between having food on hand, because obviously we have a lot of people, and not having food in every nook and cranny. So that's driving me insane right now. But today we are going to be going through the kids' clothes and taking out. The weather took a drastic turn yesterday. We woke up and it was 1 degree. It only got up to about 20, whereas last week it went up to 35. So it was still warm, but it's definitely fall. So we'll need to be taking out their kind of fall or winter clothes, their cooler clothes, so that they can have some pants and not just shorts. And so we'll be going through Theo's. Like I said, I already did him last week, which was really easy because it's just, he doesn't care what he wears. So it's just making sure that it was, you know, long enough for his legs, which half the time it went only halfway out down his calf. And he was like, oh, they're fine, they're fine. So that's why I need to kind of go through with him. And then with Gwen, she went through a growth spurt this summer, so the pants that she has been wearing are really, really short. So we'll go through all of her stuff, as well as Callie and Abby's, just to get their cooler weather stuff out so that they're not getting cold in the next couple days. And I'll be able to get rid of whatever Abby outgrows, because even if this baby is a girl, I'm not holding on to all that stuff for, you know, 6 years. That's way, way too long to hold on to a bunch of stuff that you can easily replace for, you know, a fraction of the cost of toting it around or paying to store it. So that's our plan for today, as well as, like I said, I've been trying to clean up here. I'll turn this around. This is our bedroom. And it's huge, but right now it's full of stuff because I've been taking all the bins out of the attic and away from everywhere else and bringing them in here. And there's all the dance stuff to sort out and figure out what we're keeping, what we're donating, things like that. And so there's stuff still covering every surface in here. So we originally were going to do dance, but just how things worked out this year, it was suggested to me basically by my doctors that it would not be a good idea to take on so much, because it's just can get really stressful when there's the competitions and you have to drive an hour and a half away or an hour away, and they're 4 days. And last year we did 17 separate dances, so 17 costumes and changes and 17 dances to learn, so that was just like way too much. And so this year we're since we're going to try and focus on the house and get all this finished and ready and gone, then we will be not putting them in dance this year. They will be taking piano, which actually does start today too. So this is the girls' old room. We took everything out of it because we had to rip all the wallpaper off the walls. It was falling down and probably over 30 years old. So this room is gonna have to be refinished, but I'm gonna use it for our clothing overhaul too.
What after?
A T.
I did a T for two. So 2 T's in this word. So what after?